What's up, guys? My name is Jeff. I'm the owner of Rdrgear in Salt Lake City, Utah, and today is an exciting day as we are filming from the new Rdrgear YouTube studio. This is pretty exciting. This location is going to help me kind of bring to you guys our virtual shopping experience. My goal is to kind of nerd out on what we build, how we build it, and why we do it the way we do. I'll be able to talk to you guys about buckles, webbing, stitching, all the features that make our product what it is today. And I'm excited for that because I'll also be able to show you guys new stuff that's coming out and share with you guys what the history behind that new product was and how it came to be. So today we're going to talk about a belt we've already talked about in the past, but I'm going to give you a really nerded out deep dive into how it's built and some of the things we do and the difference between the two belts that are very similar when you look at them on their website. So we've got the Enhanced Duty Belt here and the Enhanced Instructor Belt here. And I'll go through each one. We'll start with the Enhanced Duty first. So the biggest difference with Enhanced Duty is that number one, you cannot get a D-ring buckle on this belt, and the tail capture is literally on the inside, and it's an internal tail capture, and we specify that on the website, and that's what really sets this belt apart. Because once the belt is tensioned through the buckle and Velcro on the inside, there is no slippage throughout the day wearing this belt. It literally will lock in place and it'll stay there and it won't move. That's not a bad feature of the Enhanced Instructor Belt. Just for our law enforcement end users, especially for our SWAT guys, having a belt that possibly can slip throughout the day from wearing it, that's a tough one because then you have to stop and readjust. So again, the Enhanced Duty is really a feature-packed belt in regards to it works and functions just like a Sam Browne standard duty belt, but in a much more modernized format design. Way the belt system came about, when we first made this belt, we had done what everybody else did. We made the outer belt semi-stiff to almost too stiff and made a very flimsy inner belt. And when I would watch you guys work and we purposely loaded out mags, dump pouches, radios, cuffs, etc., and they would move, everything would move on the waist. And then the draw was wonky, the holster would move. Everything was just a hot mess because it had movement, walking, running, whatever. So I went back, we took a little more stiffness into the belt. That didn't make anything better. Reduced the stiffness on the outer belt and added stiffness to the inner belt. We first started with 2 plies of webbing and that was it in the stitching. That helped, but still had a lot of movement, and the guys were feeling the weight of the belt on the hips. And that's something that I hear from a lot of officers, you know, my duty belt, I feel the weight. And so and I'll give you a little history on that. If you talk to any cop out there, or if you're a security guard, contractor, law enforcement, whatnot, most duty belts are 2 1/4 inches tall. And meaning when I say tall, top to bottom width. And oftentimes you'll talk to an officer and they're wearing a inner belt for their pants that is 1.5 inches tall or 1.5 inches wide. That is where that movement comes from, because now what's happening is the outer top edge can roll outward, the bottom edge can move inward, so now you have this friction of outward movement, but the friction is at the bottom of the belt rubbing on the hips. This is extremely an issue for female officers because of the way the body is shaped. So this belt is narrower. Therefore, when it adheres to the inner belt, it's a 1 3/4 wide outer belt attached to a 1 3/4 wide inner belt. Therefore, number one, there's no need for keepers. And number two, no top or bottom can roll because it's connected evenly 100% around the circumference of the body. So when we went back to drawing board on the inner belt, I wanted kind of like an old Western, right? You saw the cowboys or the sheriff would get the outlaw's belt and he'd wad up the holster and the pistol and all that, and he'd wad it up and he'd give it to the sheriff, you know, and here's my gun belt. Well, that's what this is, right? Because now the outer belt is much thinner, much lighter to use, and the inner belt is where the core strength of the belt lies. So let's talk about how this is built. This is a Type 13 webbing, outer belt, inner belt, with 1 1 3/4 mil-spec webbing. What gives this belt its strength and rigidity, because again, we talked earlier about our 5-row stack stitching, same concept here. The belt has 5 rows of stitching, so each 1/4 inch is stacked on top of each other. So any compression from top to bottom the rows compress and become a very rigid wall. Imagine stacking blocks, right? If you put pressure, or if you interlock the blocks, that compression doesn't push on one individual block, it pushes on the staggered blocks, so it gets much tighter and much stiffer. So the webbing is a type 13 webbing that we use, and inside between the two pieces of type 13 is a .04 polymer insert. This is a polymer stiffener that I sourced from a company in Idaho. This stuff is very flexible. It will very much take shape until almost to where it's flat. If it compresses flat, it can crack and break, but if you keep it as a round, it will take any kind of a round rotation and not have any kind of a cracking issue. It won't rotate this way as long as you don't compress it like an even fold. So again, as you've seen, I've compressed the piece here, it kind of kept that shape, but any round I give to it and hold it, it just springs back, all right? This is what gives our belt its core strength. And if you imagine the outer circumference of the belt, all the weight that's here, this all can move any direction it wants to go, right? With a belt that can't fight against it. Once the belt is connected to the inner belt, now our belt is much stronger, right? As you can see, has some sag on here, but now what happens is the inner belt through the belt loops of the pants is the anchor point to the body. Now the weight on the outer edge of the belt can't pull away from the inner belt because the inner belt now is compressed in the circumference of the hips. So by having the 100% even adhesion, not needing a keeper, there's not really any areas where you're going to have separation. Even with the Tech Lock option of the mag pouches, I just Velcro back the Tech Locks. And so now even that section area where the mags are, you still have Velcro adhesion on that area there. Other cool factor with the circumference of the inner belt and the outer belt, if you're a law enforcement officer and you're wearing an LBV or Oregon Trail style outer carrier, your circumference exterior is roughly, give or take, 1.5 inches outward from your actual body, and then you've got your pouches. By having the belt compressed outward as well, now you're not reaching inward to get something, you're almost an even circumference from top down around the waist, especially magazines. By having the two inner belt, outer belt, and the Tech Lock mounting, those magazines are almost the same off-body circumference as, say, your holster is. So that's one of the benefits there in the design of the belt. This is by far our most popular belt that we sell, and we do, here you've seen a combination of Tech Locks and MOLLE. So the MOLLE that you see in the belt, the MOLLE slotting here, this is one continuous piece all the way through the belt. It is not sewn, it's bar tacked all the way through front to back on the exterior belt. The way this webbing is built here is 1-inch webbing that we fold in half. So this has around, don't quote me exactly, but we're going to say between a 400 to 600 pound tensile strength of pressure to before it would snap or break. This piece on the belt, you'll see it starts right here in this corner and it runs all the way through the belt, and you'll notice right here how it's folded over. That's the one continuous piece, and the girls sew it all the way around, they loop it back down, sew it all the way around again, and stop at this front here. So this builds an integrated D-ring that you can use for standoff if you needed to, in a hasty situation, gloves, chem lights, whatever you wanted to put on here, right? But keep in mind, this is one continuous piece. For you to be able to pop every single one of these, highly unlikely. So that's one of the benefits of having the integrated D-ring there, because the Enhanced Duty does not allow you to use the Cobra Austria Alpin integrated D-ring buckle. The way we build this inner belt, this area doesn't like this buckle. That is one of the benefits of having the enhanced instructor belt. The enhanced instructor belt is our original version that evolved to this one. This outer exterior tail captured with a keeper. Here I have just some one wrap that I've used to store my excess webbing. And then again, this area, same concept with the webbing. It starts on one end, goes all the way around the belt, stops here to make an integrated ring. You can upgrade to the D-ring as well to have the D-ring on the belt. If you do, we just remove this D-ring and you get the one here. The D-ring from Austria Alpin is a cam tension buckle. It'll stay up or it'll stay down, right? This buckle we also use on all of our canine products as well. So this works very well with a lot of our beast collars that we sell to all of our law enforcement canine partners. So again, this is a great buckle to have if you want the integrated D-ring. It is a very heavy buckle, so just keep that in mind. You add some significant weight to this compared to the standard Cobra buckles. These are 1 3/4 buckles, so again, very easy lock on. But this area here, for some, is not what conducive to what they do, right? My good friend Sean works at BSO in South Florida. His fix was he uses his badge and he just taped over the excess so it stayed secure, and he put his badge over that area and that fixed it. I've had a lot of guys use zip ties. They zip tie it and they do some tape over it. And again, I know certain consumers aren't going to want a DIY workaround. Majority of times when I find those type of recipes for a fix, that comes from somebody who's either working in law enforcement or prior military. Their mindset of a workaround or a fix is usually their first attempt versus trying to find something that already does it for them, which is fine. When I first was running the same belt, I was using one wrap and then taking the one wrap and I was using the cloth athletic tape and going over it 2 or 3 times, and then I would just change it out periodically. So again, that was a way to keep this portion tight. And again, on this topic, it's not a negative. I just want to share with you guys that the reason why we did the enhanced duty. This is a hit and miss, man. There are customers who've never had one issue with it, and then I've had a couple of guys who say, hey, man, I'd like that thing to stay tighter, not sure what I can do. And I don't know if that was different styles of pouches they were using, body types, daily use, etc. But we've had some guys who praised it and some like, hey, I'd prefer something different. And that's where we came to the middle ground of having enhanced duty belt. So once again, just to recap for you guys when you're on the website, this is a very common question. The enhanced duty belt is an internal tail capture. When you look at the belt, the excess webbing is trapped through the inside of the belt and velcroed on the inside of the belt. You'll see right here on the belt, if the tail interferes with your holster, the way the tails are bar tacked, you can actually cut in front of one of the bar tacks and then hit it with a hot knife, and that will give you customizable adjustment. So for me, this personal belt, no matter what, once I cinch my inner belt correctly to the right circumference, my outer belt automatically clicks in to place because it's basically set to the circumference of my body with the inner belt. That circumference total, this outer belt is matching. When these are sized, you buy true to your pant size. If you're a 36, buy a 36. But what we've done is we've taken into consideration the internal circumference of this belt. So for example, this belt for me is a 36 size pant belt on the inner and a 38 size belt on the outer. That extra 2 inches of adjustment allows me to get the MOLLE close to the center line as possible. But if I had to layer up, cold weather, I gained some weight, whatever case may be, I have 2, almost 3 full inches of adjustment outward to address that issue. And I still have full adhesion all the way to here on the Velcro. So that is one of the really cool features about it. If you're a cold weather person, you live in a different state or whatever case may be with weight, you have full adjustment in here to compensate, as long as you don't try to figure out the math for us. Don't do the work for us. Order per the instructions, true to pant size, and we'll do the rest, and you're gonna come with a great product. So, and again, that just gives you the recap between the enhanced duty, the enhanced instructor. The enhanced duty is your internal tail capture. The enhanced instructor is your external tail capture. The enhanced instructor belt, you can get the D-ring buckle if you choose to. All the color patterns, black multicam, tropic, ranger green, black tan, all those are identical between the two belts. Again, it's simply just the tail capture. So you guys, thanks for watching this video. It's long, I know, but this is a way for me to give you all the questions and kind of for you to shop virtually through our website and to watch these videos to answer a lot of the questions you may have. If you have further questions, you can email us at info@rdrholsters.com. If you can, hit the website, pick up something, hit the YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe. We can use that support. I'll post 2 to 3 videos every week for you guys to see stuff that we do, stuff that we build, stuff that I buy, and we'll see you next time. Take care.